To discuss the ongoing ceasefire between Israel and Gaza's Hamas, I'm joined by Nathan Miller, former speechwriter for the Israeli ambassador to the UN. Nathan, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So we're hearing from our reporter in Jerusalem from his Palestinian sources that some kind of long-term peace deal could be signed Monday night. What are you hearing?
I think it depends how you define long-term, I guess is how I would describe it. Any ceasefire signed with Hamas that allows Hamas to continue to maintain its military capability, I think is destined to result in future conflict. Hamas and other Palestinian militants right now have, they're making the calculation that for this very moment, it's not in their interest to fire on Israel. Hamas's rocket stockpiles have been depleted. Its military infrastructure has been severely degraded. It's facing pressure from its own population to end the fighting for this moment. But I think if we want to see really a lasting ceasefire, a lasting peace, a lasting calm in the region, we're going to have to deal with demilitarizing Gaza and really changing the nature of the regime that's ruling that area.
But Nathan, the reality is both sides will have to make some pretty painful concessions for long-term peace, don't they? Israelis as well with their blockade of Gaza.
So I think it's not about concessions. It's about making sure that the terrorists in Gaza are not allowed to continue to rearm. From Israel, the only reason that the blockade is there is to prevent those weapons from reaching the hands of terrorists and firing them Israel homes and cities. And Israel very much wants to get that humanitarian aid into the people into the Gaza Strip, so that the people who need it so desperately can recover and rebuild. So what we really have to see are some safeguards put in place to ensure that that the terrorists who have so brought death and destruction the past month and decade aren't allowed to reach.
My question to you, it seems like every time there's a ceasefire, 3 days here, 3 days there. This last time around, they agreed to 5 days. Why not agree to a month-long ceasefire, to a 6-week ceasefire, to give both sides perhaps a better opportunity to haggle these issues and maybe give them a chance to reach some.
They didn't want to go into Gaza. Israel left Gaza in 2005, and the last place it wanted to send its soldiers back in was to the Gaza Strip. It said from the very beginning, if it's quiet in Israel, it'll be quiet in Gaza. And Hamas and the other terrorists in Gaza refused to accept that formula, and they continued to fire rockets into Israel. They continued to stage attacks, tunneling under the border with Israel, coming into the kibbutzim. So I think if you asked Israeli officials from the beginning, they would say absolutely. The quiet formula will work for Israel. The question is, will Hamas and the other terrorists in Gaza seize their activities, seize the violence against targeting the Israeli people?
All right, thank you so much, Nathan Miller.